Sports nerds, welcome to North Sports Dynasty. I am 1/5 of your host, Andrew motherfucking Fullbear. Join with me tonight is
another 1/5.
Another 1/5, second breakfasts, whatever you want to call it.
3% of the full entire crew.
It's the Atlanta Falcons analyst, NSD host himself, and host of Off the Board show, Mr. Kyle Yacy. How the fuck is it going tonight?
It's pretty fucking amazing, bud. Pretty fucking amazing. You know, a better fucking day than yesterday, and that's all you can really fucking ask for, you know?
Hells yeah, buddy. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. That means it's North Sports Dynasty night. And that also means that this show, first things first, is undoubtedly, indubitably, indescribably, always will be from my basement. Despite possibly
not upstairs in his basement.
Well, in my basement, but not possibly in the next little bit. This little office you see here will possibly look a little bit different soon, but we'll talk about that another day. We first need to get to paying the bills, ladies and gentlemen. This show right here that you see in front of you, that I'm yelling at you from, is sponsored by ZAGNIF Apparel.
ZAGNIF.
Yeah, this right here. I'm wearing it this time. Hey, I'm wearing the shirt. ZAGNIF Apparel.
Love it. The material too.
It's actually really nice.
Oh, it looks good.
I'm gonna wear this every time I play basketball now, and inevitably hurt Alex like I did last game, which I didn't mean to, and that's probably why he's not on the show tonight. He's very upset with me.
Is he actually?
No.
Oh, I was like, what?
I don't want to put that out there. No. Alex.
This is how we're starting off? This is what we're doing?
No. Alex hurt his foot, I think, when we were playing basketball, and he went to go steal the ball from me. And all of a sudden, I didn't even touch him. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch, because he got the ball from me. And then all of a sudden, I look around, and he's limping, and I'm like, what did I do? He's like, it wasn't you. And I'm like, okay. ZAGNIF Apparel, though, is what this show is sponsored by.
Yeah.
All you have to do is use the code word FOOBS15, which, let me be the smart host that I should be. And, it's Friday. I've had a couple of, only one wobbly pop. But I'm going to be having more wobbly pops. There we go. The link is down below. Use the code word FOOBS15, get 15% off selected items, including this shirt and shoes, pants, hats, ladies apparel, more shoes. What? There's a bunch of stuff that you can.
However you identify apparel. Let's just go with that too. Kim, yes, it is Pride Month, ladies and gentlemen.
It is Pride Month. And Kim could wear this if she wanted to.
Yep, absolutely.
She's not going to. It's mine. She already takes enough of my clothes. So she's not getting this one. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. So ZAGNIF Apparel, FOOBS15, use the code word, get on to the apparel, buy some stuff, let them know that we sent you by using the code word FOOBS15. Now, on today's show, as you saw at the bottom of the ticker here, I saw Scott's first here. Thank you for tuning in, Scott. We got the greatest sports movie March Madness bracket of all time. It's behind me here. and we will get into that in a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about the NBA and NHL champions, early faves for next year, upcoming drafts with the franchise players that is happening in a couple of weeks, NFL updates on some injuries or some crap from our teams, and since it's me and Kyle, we'll inevitably be talking shit about the NFC South and how much my team sucks and how his team probably
actually. Well, you know what? I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but we should make a topic about hot seats actually, because it looks like our whole division is in a hot seat, pretty much. So,
right?
I saw that today. Actually, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
So we'll talk about that when we get to the NFL. The sports movie bracket, round 1 is right there. I will show you right here who is playing who. We'll talk about it. You can debate it, and we'll vote on it tomorrow when I post everything. And we were going to do a mock draft 2.0, but Sleeper is not working right now. I tried it. I might try again later. So if we can, and Kyle's still here, we will do a quick mock draft. We shall see. But in the meantime,
let's talk champions. So I'll start off. I am not the most well-versed in basketball, but from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the Denver Nuggets won the championship. Yep. Now, from my understanding, this has been a long time coming. They've been gradually becoming a better team, right? Yep. To now the point where they actually want to seal the deal. So I think that's great. From what I saw, though, there wasn't much like partying or celebration in Denver, Colorado. Like it's very lackluster from what I saw in the parade. Apparently a bunch of people didn't show up, which I'm like, okay, interesting. Like why aren't you supporting your team? This is a big deal, right? So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I do like the fact that Jokic, when he was on stage, and that he was like, I don't want to fucking leave. I want to stay in parade. I was like, oh, okay. This now he understands why people love to have these parades, because you can literally just get as drunk as you want, and the whole city will carry you out there. I think it's cool that they won. First of all, I don't necessarily the whole people not showing up, like whatever. It's Denver. It's the middle of the summer. Some people probably couldn't even get into the city at that point. Some people probably weren't even smart enough to try. But shout out to the Denver Nuggets for winning their first ever championship, because I mean, it seems it's a year of firsts, because something that you are versed in here is, we
might have a difference of opinion on this one, so we'll see how this is gonna go.
Well, okay, so here's the thing: my fiance isn't here right now, so I can say what I want without getting hit.
I love it. I love it.
No, I've agreed with everybody since the first round where some of this refereeing that happened in this playoffs is a little ridiculous and should be looked at, but it's not going to. That's the problem. Is Gary Bettman is not going to look at it because why the fuck would he? Right?
It's a tragedy, because like honestly, there's multiple things. Like don't get me wrong. For what I'm about to say, I'm not going to go and discount the fact that, the Las Vegas Knights weren't a good team, because they are a good team. They were
very good team.
The first expansion team, for a very, very long time. Right. And the way that the expansion happened and what teams had to give up was essentially highway robbery, which will never happen again for another expansion team, more than likely. And you can tell already what happened with the Seattle Kraken. The same kind of, I guess, drafting or trading system didn't happen. Now, with that being said, reffing, absolute shit. Whole playoff, not even just in that particular series. It was more prevalent in that series with Florida and Vegas. You could see some of the worst calls and the worst reffing. But again, besides the point, right? It's tough not to be like, oh, well, this is Gary Bettman's team. Like he wanted them to win. Like, and you're telling me that, that just magically just happened.
Yeah. It's weird because I mean, but also I don't want to be like, I'm already a conspiracy theorist when it comes to these sports anyway. So I'm like,
you have to be though. You have to be, because you can't tell me that, whether it's the NFL, NHL, soccer is a great example. You're telling me that none of this is rigged? Like fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be to some extent, and like they do a fucking great job hiding it. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Like, this is the most rigged that I have seen the NHL so far.
I agree. And I'm not saying that no other playoffs haven't been rigged in the last couple of years, because there has been a couple of bad ones too. Like the first Lightning one. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, the first Lightning one was really, really bad. The second one, almost pretty blatant. Like getting a little ridiculous there at points, and I was like, "Come on, can we just play hockey?"
Well, what's your thoughts too? That's another thing, is being over on cap space, because like the Las Vegas Golden Knights finished, I guess, the playoffs $8 million over the cap hit. You know what I mean? Like, at what point do we revisit that and be like, yeah, you know what, like, nope.
Until they make it an actual rule, like I've said, if it's a rule and they put it in for, like, say next year or the year after, I'm all for it. If that's the cap, that's the cap. If your guy's injured, your guy's injured. You still got to pay him, maybe not as much, but it still counts against the cap because you can't play that game. Now teams will bitch and complain, like, well, if he's not on the roster, then shouldn't count towards the cap. And there is no necessarily middle ground, because the middle ground would be letting the player play and not having the cap be affected for the playoffs. That's literally the middle ground technically of it. But then you get the problem where people are like, well, you allow technically super teams. You allow what some of these teams did this year, where some guys were injured at the trade deadline, like Gus Nyquist, and I can't remember the other guy, and they were trade bait. That's ridiculous. That's the part that's ridiculous.
Two out of the last 5 Stanley Cup champions have won for this exact reason. 2 out of the last 5. And that is fucked, man. That is absolutely unbelievable. Because you know what? Like, for the team, and I feel bad for the other teams that try and follow it. You know what I mean? Like, the teams that are like, you know what? We got to center the cap space because we don't want to look like that. You know, we're not going to be that. That's not our identity. You know what I mean? You know, we show value in our players. We show value in what we have going on and everything like that. You know what I mean? We're not going to go and just trade and buy whatever the fuck we can. Like, no, like that's not it, right? And I don't know, it's a slap in the face. It's a fact. Like, honestly, Ben, like it's not even the Vegas Knights themselves. It's just the whole systemic bullshit. Like, that's honestly what it is.
I agree. I mean, and again, not to take away from Ben and what he got, you know what I mean? Because it is pretty dope. Like, you know,
absolutely, and it's in the Pacific at least.
Yep. Well, and the other side that I've seen too is a cool post by an Oiler fan on Twitter that was just like, listen, if everybody was bitching and complaining because we won a cup and that's the way we won it, I'd still be drunk as fuck on White Ave, not giving a damn. And I'm like, that's fair.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
fair. And I had a big talk about it at work today too. Some dude is already a little intimidated because he's like, next year is the year we have to do something. And at first I was like, seems a little harsh to say. He's like, look at the contracts, look at Draisaitl. If you can't convince Draisaitl to stay here, what the fuck makes you think we're going to make McDavid stay here? And what GM wants to be the dude that trades McDavid? Because I'm going to tell you right now, McDavid, if he says he's going to leave, you're going to leave, or he's going to leave, and you're not going to get anything for him. Therefore, you would have to pull the trigger and be the next GM that trades the next best great player that's going to go to a franchise and win them a Stanley Cup or get pretty close, like Wayne did with the Kings.
So would that then put indirectly Ken Holland on the hot seat? Like, you know what I mean? So at that point, you're like, okay, like, because technically speaking, like, there's 3 years left in both of their contracts, if I remember correctly.
I think Draisaitl's got 2 technically, like this year, next year, and then McDavid's got 3. So Draisaitl after this year, you'd have to convince, because the year after that, you'd only get him for half a year before you'd either have to A, trade him, or B, you'd have to extend him within that period.
This is tough because you could look at it from a few different ways. I think no matter what, if we're not dominating or we make any moves in the offseason, first of all, I think Jay Woodcroft wouldn't be on the hot seat.
Woodcroft would be probably as well. Holland would probably be. They're like the whole organization.
More on the hot seat. I think Holland's more on the hot seat, in my opinion, more so than Jay Woodcroft. Because I think Jay Woodcroft, like, he's had some questionable coaching, but for the most part, it's been pretty good, in my opinion, comparatively to what we've had in the last few coaches. Now, with that being said, do I think that we finish the season with Holland and with Jay Woodcroft? Probably not. No, if we aren't doing as well as we did at the end of the season, if not actually better, because our regular season, like, we had our ups and we had our downs, especially in the middle, right? So, Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to make some moves. You're gonna have to bolster up your D line. You're gonna have to figure out your goaltending. I know there's been some talks about us having to sign some more depth forwards, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think that's as much of a issue in my opinion. Like, there's gonna be players that are gonna walk share like Nick Bukestad and possibly Warren Fogle getting traded too. Like that's more than likely to happen, and hopefully Kyler Yamamoto too. But regardless of that, I think you need to now focus on what, as bad as it sounds, what the fans have been saying. Like, in this scenario, the fans are the coach. Like, do something about defense, do some more about goaltending. And if you can't do that by midseason, then yeah, sorry, buddy, you're gone. We'll find fucking somebody else. Because, if there hasn't been, an eye opener from anybody else, like, look at what Toronto just did, right? Look what Toronto just did with Kyle Dubas. Like, now Austin Matthews.
I will say with the Maple,
Yep.
just because we got Maple Leaf fans that do watch this too, and a lot of them probably think the same thing. Kyle Dubas, and I don't agree with it. I'm just saying what happened. Kyle Dubas going publicly and stating that he had a rough year being a Maple Leafs GM made it so that the ownership / like Shanahan and all that had to fire him. Ain't no way that you can sit there and bitch and complain about a team and think that you can come back next year without the media doubling down on your ass.
Well, you're not wrong. And like the thing is too, is if you look at it, you're like, okay, well, it's Thanksgiving dinner, right? I was fucking handed a plate of fucking turkey, mashed potatoes, broccoli, and cheese, and I'm going to my family saying they didn't feed me. You know what I mean? Like that's essentially what it is. That's what we're saying. Like you cannot sit here and tell me that team wasn't stacked, because it was. Like it had good goaltending, it had depth defense, it had depth forwards. Like they had all of the makings that any team would crave for. Hell, Oilers would crave for. The fucking Red Wings would crave for. It doesn't matter, right? The fact is you were handed a plate. You're part of the problem, so they got rid of you.
Now the thing is too, like taking away from the hockey talk here. I wanted to get into the football, but kind of use that as a transition. Is something that's being taken away from both of our teams, your Falcons and the Bucks, is the fact that we in our division, between us, the Saints, and the Panthers last year, finished a game apart.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Everybody went 7-10, and the Buccaneers went 8-9.
I was pretty bang on. I just want to point out that fucking everybody said that I was fucking way off with my Falcons, and I wasn't that far off.
Nope. I was way off with my Buccaneers. I was like, this is going to be the year Brady throws 55, 5,700 yards. Oh my God, was I ever wrong? What the fuck happened? So that's why I'm taking a very cautious approach this year to doing our yearly, when we do it, when we do it'll be in August. We'll do a big show on it. I'm actually already planning it. Where everybody has 7 minutes to do their full season breakdown, like weeks 1 through 18, the playoffs. Who do you think wins the championship?
Love it.
Who has the first overall draft pick and stuff like that. And then
you go through the whole season and everything.
Yeah, I love it. You got 7 minutes to do it, kind of thing. Okay. And then the 3 minutes after that, it's all questions fielded from the rest of the NSD hosts. One, that way everybody can do it. Two, that way I can clip it, because it's going to be the big show that we use for like NSD standby it's and stuff like that, which I put at the bottom. Which, if everybody doesn't understand what the NSD standby it is you're going to start hearing that on NSD here pretty damn soon, where someone's going to say something, and if the other hosts don't like it, they're going to say something like NSD standby it, like Alex has been doing all the time. And I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm going to call you out on one of these, I swear to God.
Oh, really? Has you said it on a bunch of them or what?
Well, yeah, because I've been doing the whole tank for May 2024 for the Bucks, and he's like, your Bucks aren't going to be that bad. So last episode is when I had Peter and Harry and Ray on. Shout out to all of them. I think it was last episode or the episode before that. I had them all on, and I told Alex, I'm like, here's all my reinforcements to tell me the Buccaneers suck. Go. And they all sat there and were like, this is why the Buccaneers are going to have a good season. And I'm like, fuck off.
So let me ask you a question, okay? Right now, just off the top of your head, I don't need exact scores or anything. Rank the NFC South, how it finishes.
As of right now?
First to fourth. Early prediction.
Okay, early predictions is the same that I had before. I would go Atlanta 9-8, Saints 8-9, Bucks 8-9, and Panthers 7-10.
Okay, so you have actual scores, which is fantastic. I haven't gotten that far yet. But where I have it is I agree with the 1 and 2. I think the Falcons do win the division. I don't think it's by a lot, but I think we win the division. I think the Saints do come second. And I think it's a toss-up between the Panthers and the Bucks for the final spot. But like, I don't know why. I think the Bucks pull ahead of the Panthers. I'm just not sold yet. I'm gonna be honest.
Here's the thing. I don't know. I want to say this year, like everybody keeps like I've been bugged by a few people being like, "Who's your Giants pick going to be this year?" And that's why I keep saying it's probably going to be Atlanta, might be Chicago. But the third option that I'm leaning in, because just looking at roster and possibilities of the schedule, because nobody knows, is Carolina. Carolina fields a fucking great defense, and we know that. We hate their defense. I would even go as far, and I think Bijan Robinson's going to have a fantastic year. I think like 1350 for yards rushing. I think 450, 500 receiving. I think probably just to fuck with people, it would be something stupid like 18 touchdowns in total, where he gets like the red zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like he gets like a couple
like the 80-yard line or whatever and just fucking runs it in.
Yeah, he gets a couple of those in the season. Maybe even one game gets like 2 rushing and a receiving, but there's a couple of games in there where he's going to have dual like touchdowns. I think that's going to happen. But I also think there's a possibility that if Carolina actually does step it up this year and they start playing behind Bryce Young, that defense might have a heyday against, say, Bijan Robinson, because it's going to be NFL schemes, and they're going to be like, fine, show them this and we'll do this. And we'll make them have.
I agree with you. But even then, you can't tell me their wide receiving core got better, because it didn't. That's the thing. Like that's kind of where I'm at, because you can't tell me that you losing DJ Moore, gaining Adam Thielen, and I think Adam Thielen's a good wide receiver.
He's a very good, serviceable veteran to have.
Yeah, but that doesn't that's essentially the same problem with us then. If you're looking at it, you can compare. There's a lot of comparisons to the Falcons and the Carolina Panthers then. Like, new
receiving core over there is any day.
That's what I mean though, is like, sure, now we have Drake London. Kyle Pitts hopefully is going to get the action that he deserves now, right? Yeah. But like, even with us, like, I think that we still have a gap in our wide receiving core. I'm not in denial about that. I do like that we signed Matt Collins, sure. But I'm not totally sold on my 1A and my 1B yet, right?
You do need another B.
Exactly.
Like you need a 1B or whatever, yeah.
And that potentially could happen next season. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll be quarterback first no matter what. Like, wherever we finish, it's going to be quarterback that we're going to go for first if he doesn't work out. But besides the point is, there's still a hole. There's still a hole in the wide receiving core, right? And if you look at offense as a whole, comparatively to what the Panthers have, the Falcons have a better offense, in my opinion. Okay. Yep. You losing Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, even Robbie Anderson, not being that great, quote unquote, but still had that veteran presence in Carolina, right? Yep. So
still he became a problem, but yes.
Yeah. Now they have Chuba Hubbard, and I like Chuba Hubbard. I'm not taking anything away from him, but it's tough because there's a lot of pressure on him, right? Yep. So Chuba's going to get a lot of the carries, which isn't going to be great because people are going to come running at him, and he's a smaller guy, in all fairness, right? Yes, so it's going to suck, right? Adam Thielen being an older guy, you know what I mean? If he gets tanked by these defense, and he's going to be going against some really good defenses, it's going to suck, right?
Well, he's got to go against the Bucs defense,
and then Bryce Young's small, man. Like, Bryce Young is so small. So yeah, sure, defense, fantastic. But the fact that you have a small, weak offense, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough.
They are doing the right things, though. Like, Carolina over the years have been doing the right thing where they're like, our defense is set, so now let's go get the offense. And they've drafted a tackle last year. They got their franchise quarterback now. They are basically a team where it's like, oh, cool. If we suck this year, actually, I was going to say they can go get their wide receiver next year, but they can't because their first round pick goes to Chicago. So that wouldn't necessarily work out. But I was going to say The other team, though, like I've said, like obviously the Atlanta Falcons there, if they don't have a good season, which I just can't necessarily see unless everything just goes, south for Arthur Smith. If that happens, I would even throw the possibility out there of saying, fuck a quarterback at this point.
Yeah.
Go draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Look at the pieces of that fucking offense and go tell me that some quarterback out there wouldn't be like, I'm going to Atlanta. I'm throwing the ball to Drake London, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson, Cordell fucking Patterson, Tyler Algier,
man.
and the offensive line that you've already technically assembled, which isn't bad. Me and Alex were debating it, and I was like, listen, the Falcons' offensive line is mid-pack. And you
I agree. That's totally fair.
Yeah, in the NFL, mid-pack. And
I think
mid-pack is all you need.
Yeah, I think Caleb McGarry is questionable, but I understand why they kept him. It makes sense. Like, he definitely did put in a reason to be kept on that line. And realistically, I'm going to put it bluntly, like, there's not another option at this point. So you got to fucking roll with what you know, essentially, right? But, like, taking away from the Falcons, don't get me wrong, I could talk good about the Falcons all day. Like, you guys aren't missing that much either, in all fairness. I think that your offensive line kind of fell apart a little bit. You've lost a little bit. I'm being nice. Well, you have Donovan Smith, right? That's good.
Yeah, thank God.
That's good.
Well, at what cost is the fact that now I got to move my right tackle to left tackle, and he's been talking like he's Sam Darnold seeing ghosts almost. I don't like it.
But, like, here's the thing is look at what your offensive line is, right? Look at, you still have Godwin. You still have Evans, right? You have a tight end that fucking works, right? Can't remember his name.
K. Otten, yes, he is really good.
K. Otten fucking had a fantastic season, right? And you had, well, I guess you didn't really have people developing under Tom Brady, unfortunately. Like, kind of, but you're not running with it, so it doesn't really matter. And then you have a good defensive line. You do. Right. Yep. So realistically, like, if the Bucs are smart, which, let's be real here, Todd Bowles is probably getting fired this season because that's probably what's going to happen.
And I mean that like we talked about that yesterday on the NFL edition for like the 5 minutes I was in there. I'm like I like Todd Bowles, but I want the days where Bruce Arians was my HC and Leftwich was my OC and Bowles was my DC, and all he cared about was making sure that nobody fucking got any yards on his defense.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't know if you're going to want to do this. You got spoiled. That's what happened. You got spoiled. Okay.
Damn right.
You got spoiled, and here's the thing: now you expect it because you got spoiled. Okay. Wow. That's like when Kyle Shanahan was our head coach, and we had fucking Dan Quinn as our defensive coordinator, and everything fucking lined up. Okay. So I'm sorry, you have to fucking deal with it now.
Now I agree. The only thing is I've said before is I want the Buccaneers to go the different route for once, where I'm like, could you please go get a younger head coach, like an up-and-coming head coach, one either out of college or one of these offensive coordinators in the NFL that finally deserves a chance, like a Ken Dorsey or somebody like that. The other side of it, too, is I want them to go get a fucking young quarterback. I want them to do the Jameis Winston thing all over again, where they have the first overall pick, or you trade up for the first overall pick, but you have a new head coach, and it's not someone like Dirk Cutter. It's not someone who literally only proved that they were good as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. I need someone that has actually had a bunch of hoorah people around them being the coach that they were, like a Dan Campbell, like Sean McVay, like the guy that's in Minnesota, like Brian Dable. Those are the dudes that I want the organization to finally go and get. Because for me, and I've wanted to make this a segment before, and this is how it goes for me. All my teams have won championships. Okay. Yep. It's fresh for me for the Buccaneers. So I just want to see a rehaul so we can go at it again in another 10 years, because that's just the pattern that we do. When it comes to the Red Wings, it's been a little bit. So I would like them to just be playoffs. You know, I don't need a championship right now. I can wait till I'm in my 50s. If I get one right now, that would be dope. Baseball, I've been a Cardinals fan. I've enjoyed that. Now I can deal with first overall picks and the shittiness that they're doing right now because I've been there. Same thing again with the Red Wings. I was there 25 years straight in the playoffs. I can take a couple of years off.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't have is basketball. You know, and it's because my team's not there. And the Supersonics will be back soon. So when they do get back, you want to see me become basketball affiliated. Wow. But my point is, I've had fresh championships. So now I almost live vicariously through, say, you and Alex and Chris. Because I was going to say Sid, but Sid's a Steelers fan. He's won fucking many championships. But, like, you guys are, say, the closest sports guys that I got. Even like Sean, for example. Sean hasn't won a championship in a while. You know what I mean? So I want him to win one. I want to see the Cowboy fans, surprisingly, win a championship because they have. I'm just saying they haven't won one in a while. It'd be nice to see them win. But before them, I would like to see some of these organizations who haven't won, like you and the Lions and the Cardinals. Because I'm gonna tell you, like, it's a promise I made Alex. It's a promise I basically made you at the same time. It's a promise I made to Chris. If your teams make it to the championship, I'm basically a chauffeur. Wherever the fuck you need to go and however the fuck you need to get there, I'm there.
I'm not fucking alive. Just come pick me up.
See, okay, and here's the other funny thing, Scott. I don't want to say this like with too many people watching, but this is the place where you're actually gonna hear fucks be dropped after Pat goes to ESPN. Just saying. They'll get fined and yelled at every time they drop fuck at 11 o'clock in the morning when fucking old whites are just trying to look at their newspaper and be like, why are they dropping such vulgar while my Christianity is sitting here? You assholes.
No, I don't know if this is new to you, but like we're completely uncensored. And this show has always been uncensored.
Always. And I will not change. There is a line, and we all know, like we all know what the line obviously is. And I've even stated, I'm like, what? I'm the head of say this. So if I say something that is a borderline, everyone else at NSD, in my opinion, is allowed to say it, and I would support them through it. But also, the things that I say and do are not the same as things that everybody else in NSD believes.
That's fair. We're not all cut from the same cloth. Like we might be sewn together, but we're not cut from the same cloth.
And that's the beautiful thing about NSD, and one of the reasons why I got you and Alex aboard and Chris and Sid. I know Chris and Sid haven't actually gone and done a show in a couple weeks. I know they're busy and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Chris was supposed to be on here tonight. I know he's out doing some stuff, and he might just randomly pop in. We'll possibly see. I know we're in the second half of the show here, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do like what you see, remember to like, share, follow, subscribe to NSD.
Or share and like, whatever you want to
share and like. That's the main one. Share and like. Let everybody know. Because we've, like, the best part about this too, you go back and watch some of the NSD episodes from a couple years ago, even some of the NFL editions, some of the other just Let's Talk Football from the beginning. And you look at some of the names that were in those comment sections, and you look at some of the names that are in the comment sections now. Scott wasn't there a few years ago, but Scott's here now, and we welcome Scott. Ben has been there, though. Ben was literally in the comment section when I found Peter Blake way back in the day.
That's a hunky piece. He's hunky Ben.
Yeah. And the best part is because I know that you saw in the group chat there that we're all, possibly joining or possibly going to Vegas in a year or two here.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. Did you not see that in the group chat?
No, I didn't. Okay, we're doing that? That's what we're doing?
Yeah. So in a year or two, I figured that's like it's one, it's in the States. Duh. Two,
Beyonce 100 fucking honey-pea down for that. Honey-pea.
Yeah. We go, like Sid and Ash will go. We're going to invite Sean, invite basically everybody else. Ben's already there.
Yeah.
So, and there's a couple other people too, apparently, who are like close by. So they'll all fucking hop on. And I just wanted to be a nice week or two. We'll bring the kids so that we can have kids things to do as family, like nice things there. Then there'll be adult things that we can do afterwards. And that's the part that I like about it. So, especially with Chris is going to be there. Like Chris is a bit. I want this is the plan. I want it so that we all have the kids and stuff, but we all leave the kids for an hour with Chris.
That's dangerous.
No. Chris would be fine. He'd be fine.
I hope he watches.
But I agree. But no, that just the stuff that we would be able to do there would be fun. It's one thing that we obviously want to do. NSD and just us in general, we all want to, like, we all don't live close by to each other, and we all got lives, and we.
I actually saw Chris at the first football game for the CFL.
Oh yeah. That's what I kind of figured.
In the smoke pit. It was really interesting because it's funny because I ran into my ex and then I ran into Chris, and like that's just a weird like last 10 minutes. It's super weird. Where I don't know, you want to talk some CFL? You're knowledgeable in it a little bit or what?
I'm knowledgeable in it. Rough Riders won, baby. Let's go.
Okay, but like let's talk about this for a second, okay? Because and your quarterback is Trevor Harris. Like, let's fucking just put that to the side, okay?
Your quarterback is who?
Well, just wait. Can you fucking settle down and go from A to B, okay? So, fucking Trevor Harris, yeah, it was absolute shit. And honestly, the Riders don't look great either. But with that being said, the Elks look worse. And that's the thing, is right now, I think the Elks have done like good things. I think the Elks defensive line has severely fucking improved, which is amazing to see. But even with adding Eugene Lewis, who is the second overall rated player right now in the CFL, you know, you have Cornelius, like, absolutely throwing fucking trash balls to the number one wide receiver in the fucking league, and you can't do anything about it. Like, it's brutal to see because our defense kept us in that game. I'm telling you right now, like regardless of the score, the defense kept us in the game. They were the reason why it was even close, right? It's our offense that's not performing, and that's what just kills me. Is I've been an Elks Eskimos fan for a while now at this point, right? And just to see kind of where it's went, it's like, what is going on? What is our identity right now? Like, you know, we can go and pick apart other teams in the CFL. Like, we can go pick apart right now, you know, Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's an absolute firehouse of an offensive line. Absolute firehouse. They have the best quarterback since Ricky Ray.
Yeah.
Like, they do. Like, it is what it is, right? Like, Zach Claris is fucking phenomenal. And, like, he's arguably probably an NFL quarterback. Like, maybe not on the top team, but I think he probably
roster, I guess. Like, if
yeah.
Rourke can make a third stringer like that, then
well, and that's what I mean is each team has their identity, right? Yeah. You have BC, who was at the bottom of the barrel for like how many years, right? They sent Nathan Rourke, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh wow, like BC now has an unbelievable running game. Like, they have a great running back. Like, BC's a good team. They're a contender, and yeah, they made it to the playoffs. It's phenomenal. It's great, right? You look at other teams like Toronto. Toronto's just an overall like good base team, right? They just have the good chemistry. They were playing very well, right? Not too many huge names, but they had enough that, like, you know what, they were always in the competition, and they showed up for the Grey Cup, right? So
it's true.
I don't know. Tough. Edmonton does not have an identity right now, and it's brutal to see.
It does suck, but I mean, props to the rookie for at least showing up. Their first overall pick actually did a fucking great job. I did see the highlights of him because that's for the person that I was actually watching the most when they actually went on. So, yeah, it's going to be a long rebuild. I will probably go next weekend just because I know it's Father's Day. I was going to go to a Riverhawks game this weekend, but Kim was like, oh, we have plans. Like, I have things that we're doing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So
I know. It's my first Father's Day, I guess, technically.
Hey,
that's
true.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that we got here, we're got about 20 minutes left in the show, only doing about an hour tonight. So we're going to get into this bracket here. I'm going to get this clipped eventually. Since I've started to do that now, I can actually do some clips, which is a beautiful thing. Let me take this banner out here so everybody can see this properly and put that.
Oh, I like this.
No, yeah. Let's go like this. All right. On this side right here, what I have is the movie bracket. I have had this for a couple of years. I'm going to get some heat on this because there's probably going to be some names in here that nobody knows. There's probably going to be some names in here that should be on here that aren't. And the reasons are this. I went through, and you can ask Alex because he knew this back in the day. You can ask my fiance. I have actually all the notes right over there. Yep. I went through 123 different articles, 133 different articles of movies, top 100s, top 50s, top 10s, top everythings. And I took a piece of paper and I went from here all the way down and then another one all the way down. And what I did is I put a tick every time it was in there first. And then every time it was a high rated one. it would get a certain amount of numbers to it. So then at the end of it, calculated all the numbers, and then what we had was a system of rankings.
I love it.
Doesn't mean it's the best. It just means that these ones were always at the top if you're talking about a number 1 ranked. Number 16s and all that kind of stuff were ones that started popping up on lists a little bit more in newer ones. Now, obviously, again, this is a couple years old. So movies on there that probably, or movies that you won't see on there is probably like Draft Day. And that's all I can really think of. I don't think there's been any other good sports movies in the last little bit here. So let's start off with number 1 versus number 16. The number 1 ranked on the, what we'll call the east side of things. I pressed the button there. The Water Boy actually is not on here. I saw that pop on.
No way.
It is not. It is not. And if you are watching, you can cast your votes down into the comment section about some movies that you think are in here. Number 1 versus number 16. Remember the Titans is the number 1 seed versus Talladega Nights, the number 16 seed.
No, it's not even close. Remember, like, it's got to be Remember the Titans.
It is Remember the Titans, but I'm gonna tell you right now, Talladega Nights has popped up in way too many.
Well, it's probably one
these,
of the like racing movies for sure, 100%.
It's so what a lot of people were like, can you even name any other good like racing movies? And I'm like, okay, relax. Driven and Days of Thunder. Like, I was like, you are talking to a NASCAR and just racing fan as well. Like, don't start with me.
Yeah.
So that's the first matchup right there. So you got a football movie versus a NASCAR movie. I wouldn't be surprised if this matchup is a little bit closer than people think.
Oh, I believe it.
Just saying. Number 8 versus number 9. Number 8, Hoop Dreams versus number 9, $1 Million Baby.
Oh, $1 Million Baby. Easily.
Ooh, so you think the upset there, eh?
Yeah, $1 Million Baby. For sure, man. That was a great movie.
A great movie. Oscar-nominated movie, star-studded cast. That's Hilary Swank. Just wrapped it up that year, too. Number 5 versus number 12. This is a matchup of baseball. We got Field of Dreams versus Moneyball.
Oh,
right? Oh, such a good one.
Teams, but not by a lot.
I know. It's like, listen, I like Moneyball a lot.
Yeah.
That was such a good rendition of what actually happened. So
the Field of Dreams, when they walk out to the field, oh my, it's like the first time you see Disneyland, you know.
They do it every year.
Yeah.
Cool running. Scott also says, I'm going to tell you right now, Scott, that's another one that's not in there, but I'm giving you a star for that one. Okay, the next one we got here is golf versus basketball. We got Hoosiers at number 4 versus number 13's White Men Can't Jump.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen either of those movies.
Do not watch the remake of that one, the White Man Can't Jump. It's got Jack Harlow, and I like Jack Harlow. He's a great artist. I don't know. And Hoosiers, honestly, buddy, great movie.
Okay.
Great movie. I did see this come in here. Caddyshack. And Scott, you are correct, actually. That is one that is popping up literally right now. We got number 6, The Wrestler with Mr. Mickey Rourke versus number 11, Caddyshack.
I'll go with The Wrestler. But I'm biased, man. I'm biased. It's a good wrestling movie. I like wrestling, you know. I'm a big WWE fan. Fucking, I like, yeah, no. An easy one.
Here's the other big ones. We're starting to get into a couple of hard hitters on the east side. Number 3, Sandlot versus number 14, Murderball.
Oh, was Murderball the one that they like skate around in the cage or whatever? Like, and like that's Murderball, right? Oh, that's a tough matchup.
That's a good one too.
I like Sandlot a lot.
Sandlot. Though, and when I made these matchups, I was like, listen, I've watched Murderball way back in the day, way too many times. So,
when the chick absolutely destroys the other chick, oh man, she's like
It was on so many lists. That was a surprising point. I was like, okay, I have to include this. So like, all right. Number 7, Mighty Ducks versus number 10, the Pride of the Yankees. It's Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. It's fucking not even negotiable.
But you have to understand that Pride of the Yankees is a highly ranked movie.
Sure. It's the Mighty Ducks, though. Like,
yeah, it's the Mighty Ducks.
Like they fucking named the team after the Mighty Ducks.
Yes, they did. And Disney took the logo back. Anyway, number 2, Raging Bull versus number 15. And this one might not be another one that's hard. The Bad News Bears.
Oh.
I still pick Raging Bull because it's Robert De Niro's greatest work, in my opinion. But
pick that.
What's that?
I don't know if I can pick that. You know what? I'll give it to the Raging Bull, just for uniqueness.
Beyond Thunderdome, I like that one too. Scott, also props for you to tune it in. All right, on the.
What about Real Steel? What about Real Steel with robot fighting with Hugh Jackman? Is that considered a sport?
It is, but it wasn't on the list. All right, now we got the West Side, starting with number 1, as you can all see right there in bold. It's Rocky versus number 16, Invincible.
Oh, Rocky easily. It's not even close.
Though I'm gonna tell you right now, I love me Invincible.
What about, is Bennett like Beckham on this list? Because it fucking better be.
No.
Wow.
Number 8, Friday Night Lights versus number 9, Major League. And in my opinion, it's Friday Night Lights, and it's not even close because Friday Night Lights is
that movie's
Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, 100%. That movie's awesome.
The Tim McGraw should have got an Oscar for just like being the abusive dad. I was like, listen, I'll go to your concerts if you ever come to my house like that. Oh my God.
Beat me.
Yeah, no, straight up. Like, daddy, holy fuck. And though Major League, a lot of people might take that one too, but here's the one I see a lot of people who are going to say this should be ranked higher. Number 5, Miracle versus 12, A League of Their Own. It's
Miracle.
It's Miracle.
Yeah.
Fucking Americans and their hockey stories. Number 4 is Rudy versus number 13, Chariots of Fire.
It's Rudy.
It's Rudy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fucking Rudy. Number 6 is Slapshot versus number 11, The Hustler.
Slapshot
all the way.
No.
Now, this one, I actually, the reason it's a lot closer is because I actually really enjoyed both of these movies. Number 3, Space Jam.
Oh, fuck. What's it going against?
Versus number 14, I, Tonya.
Oh.
It's still Space Jam, but listen, if you have not watched I, Tonya, it is a fucking good movie that showed you, like, holy crap, man. Yeah, it's Space Jam, dude.
I'm surprised there's no soccer movies on it. There's been some movies.
There has been. I like I said, I might have to do this list again eventually, because some people are going to be like, well, what about this? And then I'll do a revote all over again.
They don't. Is Happy Gilmore not on any lists?
No, sir.
Okay.
Number 7 is Creed.
Ooh.
Versus number 10, The Natural. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I did this list before Creed 2 came out. Creed 2 would probably take over for Creed because apparently Creed 2 is better, and I haven't seen them yet.
Me either.
The Natural, though, is fucking great. And the big one for me, number 2, Bo Durham versus 15, Any Given Sunday. As much as I love Any Given Sunday, Bo Durham would take that spot for me.
Yeah, Any Given Sunday.
Wow. You like that movie a lot, eh?
I do. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember a lot of it, but I know it was a good movie. That's the one thing, is if I can't remember the movie and I can remember it was a good movie, then it's a good movie.
That's fair. So that's the list that I got right now. That list will get posted probably tomorrow because when I'm done this, I'm going to be busy.
Nice.
Because that's just how, life comes
Good.
at you. So, yeah. That was the list. We'll post it up tomorrow. Let everybody know what the matchups are going to be. Also, no mock draft. I tried the sleeper app. It's not going to work. So me and Kyle are basically going to sit here and bullshit for the next 7 minutes ish till 8 o'clock. Then we're going to get the fuck out of here because it's Friday. There is no, I'm going to go check Twitter and see if there's any crazy news going on. I'm going to tell you right now, the one thing that I have been seeing is the thing that popped up first things first is all these hypothetical trades of the Buccaneers trading Mike Evans. I'm going to tell you all right now. Look in this fucking camera right now. I'm going to pull a Chris, I guess you would say here. Let me go to solo. The Buccaneers are not trading Mike fucking Evans. Mike Evans is going to play his last down in the NFL in a Buccaneers fucking jersey. Whether it's creamsicle, whether it's a relocation, whatever. Mike Evans ain't fucking going anywhere. They'll trade Chris Godwin before anything. They'll let Russell Gage go. They'll let Ryan Jensen go. They won't re-sign Tristan Wirfs before they let fucking him get traded. Are you kidding me?
Is that a what you gonna call it? What was that? An NSD?
I would 1,000% stand by that, but it's season by season though.
No, it's just stand by it. It's just stand by it for this season and next season. How confident are you right now?
100 p. I would NSD stand by it 1,000%.
Do it right now. NSD stand by it. Fucking do it right now.
NSD stand by it. I'm gonna put that right in the banner. Everybody got a new NSD standby, so I got to put it in the banner first because I already. Where's Alex's fucking motherfucker? Where did he put it? I got to find his because he's got them all set up. So there it is. There it is. Okay. So Kyle, Mike Evans traded / release because that counts too. Yep. In 1.5 years, because that technically would go into next season and then the beginning of the season after that.
Yep.
So that's with Foods. It ain't fucking going nowhere, and I will NSD stand by it.
Well, I'll match you with that. So I'm going to NSD stand by it that Derek Carr won't play more than 2 seasons with the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, so now you just got to wait until somebody calls you out on that.
That's fine. I hope they do because I know I'm going to be right.
2 seasons. Interesting. I have to do a little bit more studying on that. I don't know because it's going to become weird. Here's the thing. Next season's going to become weird if one of these teams that are like mid-pack, people who have done everything to get a quarterback, I guess you would say. So like the Saints, the Packers, even the Giants. If any of those teams have a very bad year and they end up with the first overall pick, you'd be dumb not to go grab Caleb Williams.
Sure. But let me ask you a question, okay?
Yep.
Who's the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, or who will it be? Probably more than likely. Bryce. Yeah, okay. What about the Falcons for right now? Desmond Ridder, right?
Yeah. I can see Heineke getting half the season, but that's just me.
But like Desmond Ridder's the guy. And after Baker Mayfield, who's it for the Bucks? Kyle Trask, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what about for the Saints?
Taysom Hill.
No. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Taysom Hill, man. Taysom Hill, baby. It's the Hill. Look at it. I'm Taysom Hill. Look at it. I look literally just like Taysom Hill. Okay,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you're telling me why I'm standing by it. If the Saints fall, fucking Derek Carr is 100p the scapegoat.
I mean, he was the scapegoat on the Raiders, so I can see them doing that as well. They'd be like, this guy.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. No, they gave him a lot of money.
Yep.
They better know what they're doing then. Actually, you know what? In a way, I hope they don't, because I don't like the Saints. And the other day I realized that I have like hockey cards and shit like that I use as, like you put underneath something because it's, wobbly or whatever, like a balancer, like a little shim. And I'm like, why am I just using random hockey cards? So I went and I looked at my football collection. I pulled out all my Saints cards. And then I pulled out all my Cam Jordan ones. And then I just replaced them all throughout the house wherever I needed them. And so
I love it.
So the Saints faces and logos will never actually be shown in my house. Unless I actually owned something of value of the Saints, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to showing it off. Like if I had a signed Drew Brees jersey. Oh, yeah. Like The jersey breaks, that's the best part about jersey breaks when I used to do them, especially with the hockey ones. I used to have a Reinhardt, fucking, what's his name on the Sharks that you guys wanted there? The defenseman.
Wasn't it Minnesota?
No. The really good one. What the fuck is his name? The Swedish guy, Carlson. I had a Carlson jersey. I had a bunch of different like hockey jerseys like that. And I was like, I don't mind owning these jerseys because I won them for like fucking $25. No different than when I've gotten in the football breaks as well. Like when I did them all here, and most of those ended up becoming gifts or prizes. There we go, for the NST show. So
yep,
works out in the end. Speaking of the end, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. Me and Kyle are going to dip out of here. We got some things to do. Make sure you tune into the Ben Zone going on tonight. Ben's going to be on in about half an hour. I'm not too sure what he's got on the docket tonight. Be sure to vote in the polls tomorrow when the voting goes up for wherever the sheet went. There it is. Greatest sports movies of all time. We'll calculate them. We'll see who everybody thinks, and we will name the greatest sports movie of all time. NSD edition, probably by the end of July, I would say. We will also, by the way, be having a show on, let me find right here, on June 26th. The reason we're having one on June 26th is so that we can have Sid on. We can actually have a big show where hopefully everybody's there. Kyle's the only one that we're tentative on right now. It's fine. But yeah, everybody's going to be here on a Monday show. I'm going to still do the Friday night show, but we're also going to do a Monday night show just to try it out so we can bring Sid on and Chris and have a good time because we haven't seen him in a while. He's a hardworking man, this, that, and everything else. So it is what it is. We'll do one there. And then we got the big show in August, which will be our pre-season show. We'll do a lot more NSD standby, so we'll get to see everybody's predictions for the seasons, laugh at them, cry about them, debate about them, and all that other fun stuff. From myself, and Andrew Fair.
See you guys fucking later.
That's Kyle Yacy. We're NSD, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.